Hey folks, 5-minute maintenance, day 10. That means we've made it to the end of week 2, which is amazing. I've really enjoyed putting these videos out every day for you. Massive thanks to everyone that's shared and commented and liked my videos. So please let's keep that going. Share it around, give us a like. That'll help me get this content out to you every day like we've been doing. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. Rather than working on mobility and stretching, we're going to look at some movement skills, do a little bit of movement practice. We're going to do a few different movements, and for each one we're going to start off with a really basic movement, and we're going to work through a series of progressions. Now don't worry, there's not going to be anything too complicated in this, but if you do have difficulty with the later progressions, just do what you can do now and maybe go away and practice the more difficult ones, and then you can come back, rewatch the video and put what you've practiced into action. So find yourself a bit of space on the floor and let's get started. This first movement is going to start in this seated position with our legs just slightly wider than shoulder width, sitting back on our hands, and we're just going to start rolling those knees from side to side. This is a nice little hip opener, nice little warm up for what we're about to do. And what I want you to focus on here for this movement and for all the movements we're going to do today is the quality of this movement. We're looking at flowing from one position to the next, keeping in control, keeping stable throughout. It's all about the quality of movement, not about the number of reps we do, how fast we do it, or anything like that. It's all about moving well today. So to progress from here, we're just going to start rolling up onto our knees, reaching out in front of us. Back to the other side, reaching out in front. So as we come to the left, we're reaching over with the right arm, and then as we roll to the right, reaching over with the left arm. And in this kneeling position here, we want to build a nice, strong, stable base. So think about squeezing those glutes. That has the action of bringing the hips forward, creating a bit of tension down the front and the back of the leg. If we brace the belly and the back, that gets us nice and strong and stable in this position. And reach forward, allow all that tension to relax as we flow between the positions. And then on the other side, again, squeeze the glutes, hips forward, tension in the front and back of the hips and legs, tension around the belly and the back, reaching forwards, and then relax and roll through. Now what this is teaching you is to build a strong, stable base when you need it, and then in the transition between the movements when you want a more flowing state, you can allow that tension to go, and then when you come up, boom, you've got that stability there when you need it. And one last progression for this movement is we're going to take the arms out of it. Now this is a bit more difficult, so when you sit down, the arms aren't going to go behind. You're going to try and keep the feet rooted to the floor and come up as we were doing. You find it useful to hold your arms in front of you for balance. If your feet do come off the floor in this position, that's fine, it's going to happen. Just try your best to keep them rooted. Now it might be an idea to pause the video here and just spend a few minutes playing about with this position, because it does take a little bit of practice. When you're able to do about 10 to 12 to either side, we'll move on to the next movement. This is going to be a series of rollbacks with a few progressions. So we're going to start off just by rolling onto our backs, bringing our legs into the air, rolling forwards into this seated position and reach forwards. So that's roll back and reach. And like before, we're focusing on the quality of movement. We're wanting to flow and be nice and smooth as we roll back. Transition into that reach. Stay in control up in the air. And as you reach forward, feel those hips opening up, stretch the back. And then we're just going to move on to a slightly different position on the sit, and that's going to be this figure 4 position. So one leg in the same position, the other leg bent at this angle down on the floor. Put that reach in again, and as you roll back, we want to switch the hips, swap the legs over, so we've got the other leg up in front and the other leg bent here, reaching forwards. And every time you roll back, get a nice smooth swap of those hips, just switching them over. And nice and stable and controlled throughout. And now we're just going to start using a little bit of our momentum to come up into this kneeling lunge, reach forwards, and then gently roll back, switch the hips, and again come up into a kneel. As you sit up, think about squeezing those glutes, opening the hips up a little bit, bracing around the belly and back to be nice and stable. Reach forward and then relax back into the roll. And like before, if you need to practice this movement, just pause the video and spend a little bit of time practicing this movement until you can do it nice and smooth, nice and controlled. Okay, good. And we're going to move on to one final movement now. And we're going to finish off with some sit-outs. So we're going to come to a kneeling position like this, curl the toes under and bring the knees off the floor. So we're in this 4-point position here, this crawl position. And we're just going to take the right leg in between our left leg and hand to come out to the side, lifting up with the left hand and sitting out to the side. And then bringing that leg back through, returning to this crawl position. I'm doing exactly the same on the other side with the left leg. So sitting out towards the right hand side. And repeat on the left. And then just start to flow from one side to the other. Again, if you need to take a little bit of time to get the idea of this movement, just pause the video, practice it until you're sure you can do it. And then come back in and we're just going to practice flowing from one side to the other. Remember, quality of movement, nice and smooth, in control the whole way. You're going to feel this opening out your shoulders a bit, you're bringing a bit of hip action in. This is all really good stuff. And there's a little progression from this. What we're going to try and do is miss out the 4-point contact. So as we come back through, rather than bringing the leg down and coming to the 4 points, we're going to skip through. So at any one time, only 3 points of contact with the floor. So you're going to be taking more weight in your hands. It's going to be more of a coordination effort going on here. And it's probably going to get the heart rate lifted a little bit as well. So that's 3 movement patterns we worked on there with progressions for each. These are great to use as part of movement practice on their own. You can also put them into a warm-up as part of a movement skill component for that. And if you do them a bit more intensely, you can even use them as part of a cardio workout. Now, finding control in complex movement patterns such as that is an excellent whole brain body stimulus. It improves our overall movement skill and it gives us a bigger toolbox for improvising movement, which is going to be really useful for sport and even just general day-to-day life. So give those a go, let me know how you get on, give us a like, share this around, that's always really appreciated. And come back next week on Monday for the next episode of 5 Minute Maintenance. Thank you.